Good morning, students. Welcome back in another exciting lecture of English class. Students, you all must have heard a number of times these words like confidence, willpower, endurance. What is the exactly meaning of all these words? And the most important question I shall ask from you, what is the role of these words? Why these things are really so important for all of us to become a successful person in life? Why we direly need the confidence. What is the meaning of confidence for you all? If I'll ask from you. So confidence is believing in yourself, feeling comfortable in your true self, and it generate a satisfaction in you, it generate contentness in you, and it helps you to connect with other people also. So I shall say, typically when you are confident about yourself, then you will feel more and more happier, and that happiness will bring success in your life, and it energizes you and it brings the happy hormones in your life. And that moment you will feel that really I am at the cloud nine, I am at the seventh heaven. So confident means a lot for you. With the key of confidence, whatever you want to achieve in life, you will be able to. Just like a story, a wonderful inspirational story we have of a major HPS Aluwalia, who has explained in our chapter how beautifully he correlated the summit of the Mount Everest with the summit within. That first of all, prior to the commencement, we all have to conquer the summit that all have 24/7 going inside our heart. The summit is going on inside our mind, that all the time that battle is always going on. I cannot do this, I will not be able to do this. Oh, this work is beyond my imagination, this work is beyond my capabilities. So you have to first of all conquer that part, and afterward you would be able to, whatever you want to do in life, you would be able to do so. So, students, let's complete this wonderful chapter written by Major HPS Aluwalia, and how wonderfully he has explained his own journey, and as well as he has explained the thing that after completing this journey, after conquering this Mount Everest journey, the summit, he conquered so many, he have won so many other battles also of life. So let's read with me. Major HPS Aluwalia was a member of the first successful Indian expedition to Mount Everest in the year of 1965. He climbed the Mount Everest on 29th May 1965 along with his friends Rawat and Phudorji. In the Indo-Pakistan War of 1965, he was injured and confined to a wheelchair. He is the recipient of several awards like Padam Bhushan, Arjun Award, the National Award for the best work done in the field of disability. He won the Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Award for lifetime achievement on August 29, 2009. He has written several books like Higher Than Everest, Beyond the Himalayas, and Everest is Within You. Ahluwalia has also been the president of Indian Mountaineering Foundation and Delhi Mountaineering Association. He was also the chairman of Special Ability Trust, created to assist young achievers with disabilities with fellowships and scholarships. Youth Exploring Society, Rehabilitation Council of India, Chairman of Planning Committee of Persons with Disability of 12-Year Plan, and Chairman of the Committee of Drafting Country Report. The Summit Within chapter, the story we are reading, it's a story of experiences of Major HPS Ahluwalia. He was full of humility when he stood on the summit of Everest. He thanked God for his physical success. It was the highest of the goals for him. While getting down from the summit, He asked himself why he climbed Everest, what was the reason, and what made him to do so. The people climb mountains because they present great difficulty. Man takes delight in overcoming all those obstacles. A climb to a summit means the demonstration of climber's endurance, persistence, and willpower. Since childhood, the narrator has been attracted by the mountains, and when he reached at the top of the mountain, it was really beyond his imagination. He was not able to express his feelings in words. So, last week, students, we have started the reading of this chapter, and today we are going to continue our reading from the page number 77. Once having granted this, the question remains, why Everest? Because it is the highest, the mightiest, and has defied many previous attempts. It takes the last ounce of one's energy. It is a brutal struggle with rock and ice. Once taken up, it cannot be given up halfway, even when one's life is at stake. The passage back is as difficult as the passage onwards. And then, when the summit is climbed, there is the exhilaration, the joy of having done something, the sense of a battle fought and won. There is a feeling of victory and of happiness. Glimpsing a peak in the distance, I get transported to another world. So, Major said, once having found out why to climb mountains, he was questioning to himself that why Everest? So, probably because it is the highest in the world and has resisted many attempts of people trying to climb it. To reach the summit of the Everest, it asks for every bit of energy in one's body. It is a harsh struggle. With ice and huge rocks, we have to literally survive a lot. And once you have taken this hard challenge, there is no option for you to give up midway, even if life is at stake, because the passage backward poses the same difficulties and challenges as the passage upward. If at the midway you really want to give up, you really want to quit your journey, so it would be a tough decision for you, because the same kind of problem, the same kind of obstacle you will face while climbing up the mountain, the same you will face climbing while climbing down the mountains. So that time you will not be able to quit anymore. And when finally, after overcoming all those obstacles, one reaches the summit, there are feelings of accomplishment, excitement, joy, victory, and happiness as well. There is a feeling of having fought a battle and won. And that feeling is beyond our imagination. You can't express though that emotions. You can't express that feelings in words. The author Ahluwalia mentions how looking at another peak transported him to another world. So he said, I experience a change within myself, which can only be called mystical by its beauty, aloofness, might, ruggedness, and the difficulties encountered on the way. The peak draws me to it, as Everest did. It's a challenge that is difficult to resist. Looking back, I find that I have not yet fully explained why I climbed Everest. It is like answering a question, why you breathe? Why do you help your neighbor? Why do you want to do good acts? There is no final answer possible. And then there is the fact that Everest is not just a physical climb. The man who has been to the mountain top becomes conscious in a special manner of his own smallness in this large universe. The physical conquest of a mountain is only one part of the achievement. There is more to it than that. It is followed by a sense of fulfillment. There is the satisfaction of deep urge to rise above one's surroundings. It is the eternal love for adventure in man. The experience is not merely physical, it is emotional, it is spiritual. So Major experienced a change within himself, which can only be called mystical. The peak attracted the author to itself with the help of its greatness, beauty, serenity, and the difficulties it poses on the way. He says it was a challenge difficult to resist. So, mystical means inspiring a sense of spiritual mystery, awe, or and fascination, a thing like otherworldly. So, Major, when he looks back and discovers that he had not yet revealed why he actually climbed the Everest, he compares it by asking a question as to why one breathes, or why one helps their neighbor, or why one does a good deed. So it is really impossible to find an answer to these questions, that why he exactly summit the mountain. He also mentions the fact that Everest is not just a physical climb, but it changes the person in a way that makes him aware how small he and his problems are in this infinite universe. He said the overcoming of physical barriers is only one bit of the accomplishment. There is a lot more to it, like the sense of accomplishment, the satisfying urge to rise above the current circumstances. It is the never ending desire for adventure in a person. So, the experience is not just physical, but emotional and spiritual too. Consider a typical climb towards the summit on the last heights. You are sharing a rope with another climber. You form in. He cuts the steps in the hard ice, then he belays and you inch your way up. The climb is grim. You strain every nerve as you take every step. Famous climbers have left records of the help given by others. They have also recorded how they needed just that help, else they might have given up. Breathing is difficult. You curse yourself for having let yourself in for this. You wonder why you ever undertook that ascent. There are moments when you feel like going back. It would be sheer relief to go down instead of up. But almost at once, when you snap out of that mood, there is something in you that does not let you give up the struggle. He begins evaluating here a usual climb to a summit where you are sharing the rope with another climb. So, as you make yourself firm, he moves ahead as he carves the hard ice with his feet only to further fix the rope to help you inch your way up. So it is a process that you have to follow up while climbing the Mount Everest or while climbing to any big mountain. So you have to sometimes you have to share your rope with others, sometimes you have to give the help, and sometimes you have to take the help also. So it's a difficult climb that you puts pressure on every nerve, and you take a step forward whenever. He mentioned how it has been recorded by some other famous climbers for having taken help from others, and how it was that help was only thing they needed at that moment to move forward, as they would have given up. It is indeed very difficult to breathe at such high altitude and cold temperature, as the weather is really harsh there. It is so hard that you curse yourself You blame yourself for signing up for this. And you start questioning to yourself that why you undertook it all in the first place. Why you really decided to climb up this mountain, and it pushes you to give up. And the idea of going back looks relieving at that moment. Anytime your soul, your mind would be ready to quit, you feel something in yourself. And then almost instantly, if your willpower, your endurance is strong, then you are out of that mood. You feel something in yourself that doesn't let you give up, and you move on. He said, your companion is always there with you. Only and only you can win yourself, nobody else. As you climb up, look at the distance you covered, and you feel as if there is no end. You and your companion both look at each other in search of motivation, and then suddenly, without even realizing it at first, you are already at the summit. And you go on. Your companion keeps up with you. Just another 50 feet or 100. Maybe you ask yourself, is there no end? You look at your companion and he looks at you. You draw inspiration from each other. And then, without first being aware of it, you are at the summit. Looking round from the summit, you tell yourself that it was worthwhile. Other silvery peaks appear through the clouds. If you are lucky, the sun may be on them, and the surrounding peaks look like a jeweled necklace around the neck of your summit. Below you, see vast valleys sloping into the distance. It is an ennobling, enriching experience to just look down from the summit of a mountain. You bow down and make your obeisance to whichever god you worship. He said, it's really hard to survive in that cold weather, in that difficult atmosphere, and your soul is just about to quit any time. But you go on. You look at your companion sometime, and your companion looked at you, and you both look at each other in search of motivation because you don't have any other. And then suddenly, without even realizing it at first, you are already at the summit. As you look around, once you reach the summit, you tell yourself that it was worth all the struggle and hardships. Why? You can see other peaks through the clouds because you are at the top of the world. So from there, you can see all other peaks. And if you are fortunate enough, then there may be sunlight on them. And here you would imagine the peaks nearby look as a jeweled necklace, just like the neck is Mountain Everest, and all other peaks are just like a jeweled necklace, just like a garland around the neck of your summit, around the neck of Mount Everest. The whole scene is out of the world. As you look down, you can look at the vast valleys from a distance. To look down from the summit of a mountain is an honorable, enhancing experience. As you are on the top of a mountain, Mountain Everest, you bow down and pay your respects to whichever god you worship. You pay your obeisance there. Obeisance means you pay your respect, a gesture of expressing differential respect, such as bow, such as courtesy. So you pay your obeisance there. I left on Everest a picture of Guru Nanak. Rawat left a picture of Goddess Durga. Fudorji left a relic of the Buddha. Edmund Hillary had buried a cross under a can. Can means a heap of rocks and stones. So he buried a cross under a can in the snow. These are not symbols of conquest. but of reverence. The experience of having climbed to the summit changes you completely. There is another summit. It is within yourself. It is in your mind. Each man carries within himself his own mountain peak. He must climb it to reach to a fuller knowledge of himself. It is fearful and unscalable. It cannot be climbed by anyone else. You yourself have to do it. The physical act of climbing to the summit of a mountain outside is akin to the act of climbing the mountain within. The effects of both the climbs are the same. Whether the mountain you climbed is physical or emotional and spiritual, the climb will certainly change you. It teaches you much about the world and about yourself. I venture to think that my experience as an Everester has provided me with the inspiration to face life's ordeals resolutely. Climbing the mountain was a worthwhile experience. The conquest of the internal summit is equally worthwhile. The internal summits are perhaps higher than Everest. So when the author reached at the Mount Everest, at the peak of the Mount Everest with his friends, so he left a picture of Guru Nanak Dev, his fellow climbers Rawat and Fu Dorji. They left pictures of and relics of the goddess Durga and Buddha respectively. Edmund Hillary, he also went there on the peak of the Mount Everest and he built a cross under the heap of rocks in the snow. He mentioned that these are not symbols of accomplishment but of respect, such as so many people used to leave their symbols there, like pics of god or goddesses, any kind of garland or cross. So these are not symbol of their accomplishment, that I have reached the mountain, I have completed my journey here, so this is my symbol, my sign, this is the symbol of my accomplishment, my journey. These are symbol of respect and admiration. This is because the experience of having climbed the summit changes you completely. He talks about another summit now. He said that I covered up the whole path and I reached at the top of the Mount Everest. So he talks about another summit, the summit within one's own mind. He further explains how there is a mountain peak within each person's mind and how he must climb it to attain complete awareness of oneself. He said it is fearful and cannot be measured. You can measure the height of the Mount Everest, but you cannot measure the height of that fear that you have in your mind. And moreover, no one except you can climb it. The hardest part it is. He further explained how physically climbing a mountain is similar to climbing the one within. The effects of both the climbs are also the same. It changes you completely, irrespective of the nature of climb being physical, emotional, or spiritual. It teaches you a lot about the world around you and the one inside you. His experience as an Everester has given him both the strength and inspiration to deal with one's life's pain and all the painful experiences with determination and firmness. He said just like climbing Everest was a worthwhile experience, conquering the summit within is equally worthwhile. And moreover, internal summits are higher than the physical summit of Mount Everest. So students, here we have read this beautiful, inspiring story about a Major HPS Ahluwalia and how beautifully he has correlated his journey of Mount Everest with the summit of Mount Everest with the summit within. It's really amazing to read that how beautifully he has correlated both the summit within and the summit to Mount Everest. And he said both the climbs teach one much about the world and about oneself. The internal summits are much higher than the Everest, and the climber gets the inspiration to face life's ordeals with determination. He said these natural obstacles and hardship change you entirely, change your life, and change your vision towards the life. You would personally feel that disastrous change after accomplishing all those heights. So, students, I hope you all have understood the chapter deeply and you all have understood the message given by him that you all must learned to develop the ability to understand the difficult situation in our life and to cope with the problems of life. Students, you have to read the chapter carefully again and afterward learn the question answers well. And we will meet in our next session. Till then, take care of yourself. Thank you.